What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here, man, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry. I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, that's gonna make us question everything. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Stay with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
Here is another very scary and unexplainable doorbell camera clip. This one though may show some kind of flying creature. Then a giant dark shadow whooshes past the screen. The shadow is huge and it moves swiftly, way too large and fast to be anything we know of.
Yep.
As it flies by, it even knocks snow off the nearby streetlight, showing us that something really was there.
Ain't no bird.
It must have been just out of the shot, and it flew right above the houses. Some say the shadow itself could have been the creature, like maybe some kind of dark, ghostly spirit. Another thing that makes this so real is the fact that the OP, Charlene Excelsior, has never posted anything like this ever on her TikTok page. As you can see here, her videos just consist of nature and animal content. No other creepy creature videos like this one. So it seems this is a real video that was picked up on her security cameras late this night. But what do you guys think it could be? The Mothman or some kind of other flying cryptid? Or maybe even a ghost itself? Or could it somehow all be explainable?
Could be explainable. You never know. She's trying to sneak out. They pulling a in the living room. What the fuck? What the hell is that? She don't know. Someone broke in.
So apparently like 20 images of UFOs got leaked on Reddit. They're allegedly from a government program that's studying them. Now look at this one picture of this UFO. This one freaks me out. I don't even think we have that technology or it exists. These images look like they were captured on military equipment or some type of Navy jet. Now there are some parts that have been blacked out on the bottom and sides, and I think that's like the navigation stuff from these military aircraft. Now why would you black that out if these are fake? They've clearly been studying and researching them for decades. We even had that UAP disclosure hearing in Congress where they said that Navy pilots were encountering these on a daily basis off the coast of California and Florida. Could these be aliens, or could they be interdimensional beings? Have they always been here? All this stuff is so freaky and a little suspicious if you ask me. I feel like there's a lot of momentum right now and they might be preparing us for something in the next coming years.
Really? Off-roading near the border. It could be a skinwalker trying to trick you. I don't trust that. He better than me, bro. I would have skirted off.
This isn't a normal horse. I've looked up a weird situation like this. It's actually a skinwalker trying to form itself like an animal.
I told you about those skinwalkers, man.
Earth is going through a spiritual flu right now, and a lot of us are going through it too. So many of you probably feel like, oh my God, I don't know why I feel like this, baby. It's because the Earth is vibrating higher and we are vibrating with it as well. Okay, here's the thing. A lot of people feel like CERN machine is the reason why the weather has been all crazy. One day it's hot, one day it's cold. No, it is because Mother Earth is having flu symptoms right now. And like I said, we had those too. So a lot of us probably feel right now like you are very weak, you are very fatigued because I've been sleeping like a newborn baby. Do you hear me? Right? That it's not the real flu. Okay. A lot of us have a lot of sinus headaches, right? A lot of pressure behind the eye, that pulsing, pounding headache at the crown of your head, that ear ringing, the throat chakra itchy, and all that good stuff, right? Y'all, it's not the actual flu. It is a spiritual flu. At least that's the name that I'm giving it, okay? Like I said before, y'all, we are going through a split from the 3D to the 5D realm, right? We are going through this big transformation, this major transition. And as the earth is vibrating higher, we as humans, or spiritual beings, we are vibrating at a higher frequency as well. So right now, our body is going through rewiring, right? It's purging, it's detoxing, it's doing all types of funky shit. And I ain't even gonna lie to you, baby. It's a little bit too much for the girl to handle, but chosen ones, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for.
Okay, anybody else feel their vibrations off, man, in 2026, bro? Like she shared, both the earth vibrating, changing. Maybe we feeling that too. Or she said only a select few can feel the changes the earth is going through. Tell me down below, Seekers, if you guys are one.
I haven't been to Walmart in like 6 years since I used to film those Walmart videos exposing all the unfortunate food. But today I went to get some Lego, and I noticed they have robot janitors now. So janitors out of work, another job taken by AI. And then also it's self-checkout, so cashiers losing jobs. This is like a microcosm of the macrocosm of what's coming around the corner. With millions and millions of people out of work because of AI, then they'll beg for a new system because the current one's not working, but it's not broken. It's built that way. Now, it's pretty clear they want our reality synthetic. They are putting no effort into making it more organic. That's going to be up to us. This is clearly a part of the plan.
This information right here, y'all about to find out, is very deep and very interesting. Do y'all know that Tyler is not even his name? His name is really Emmett Perry, not Tyler. But stay with me, walk with me. Why his name is Tyler? This is why his name is Tyler. Tyler or Tiler is an officer in a Freemason lodge who acts as the outer guard responsible for securing the lodge entrance against unauthorized visitors. In other words, y'all, he's a gatekeeper in the business of Hollywood. He's a master Mason, top notch. Look, y'all, this is real actual information. The reference include brother, a WB, worshipful brother, which is a title for a master of a lodge. Based on 2021 Facebook posts from a Masonic related page, Tyler Perry is recognized as a brother in Masonry. Because I know some of y'all like, nah, man, you lying. You conspiracy theorists. What is this? This is not made up. This ain't AI. This real. This brother is highly worshipped by a lot of black people. Y'all know I ain't playing. Even the character Medea is worshipped. A lot of politicians, actors, athletes, etc. There are sellouts that look like us. Look, y'all, even when you type is Tyler Perry and Mason, look what pops up. The first picture, you see the first picture at the top? Black and white. That's the colors that they wake.
The whole Facebook movie is a giant lie. It wasn't like this autistic guy named Mark Zuckerberg just came up with this great idea. No, dude, that was a Pentagon program called LifeLog that wants to basically collect all your data for your whole life. What day did the government stop the LifeLog project? February 4th. Now, look up what day was Facebook registered as a business.
February 4th, 2004.
The exact same day. They don't even hide it, dude.
It was created by DARPA.
Yeah, and then they handed it to Mark Zuckerberg. They own Instagram, Facebook, they own WhatsApp, they own all of it, dude.
You have.
Wow. I never knew that, bro. Those dates, they do line up, man. That's eerie, bro. LifeLog. Trying to collect all the info, bro.
No idea. Do you know what this is? You've been under a spell your entire life. You didn't even know it. This letter is proof that the world already ended. And if you can't understand it, you may not be who you think you are. You may be one of the few who are sent to change everything. It's a letter from a child born in Turtle. Ancient name, and he writes, I remember the time before the spirit came.
We didn't have to ask what life was. We were it. We walked barefoot and fed each other. We knew how to speak to animals, and they spoke back. Then it changed. A shadow came from the north, riding on a silver ship. It whispered into the minds of kings, and the kings forgot they were human. The spirit grew inside their temples, hijacked their gods, renamed their demons, and turned them into religions of conquest. And this spirit, let me be very clear, is not a person. A hunger that can never be full, a cold algorithm of empire that promised salvation but brought enslavement. It claimed to civilize but left ruin. It conquered not just lands, but memory. When it reached Turtle, our songs disappeared, our drums were silenced, we were taught to hate our grandparents, we were taught to erase our own faces.
This letter was an allegory, but it's very true. What happened to Turtle happened to the whole world. And the scariest part, you were born after the apocalypse, so you didn't even know that anything had ended. Comment below what you believe Turtle was. And if you want more on this, read the book called FAMS, Food, Forest, Foraging, Hunting, Anti-Fragile Modern Society. I love you all. Peace. The free audiobook is in a link at the top of the page.
It's you thinking.
Sounds to me like we need to get some new conspiracy theories, because all the old ones turned out to be true.
Damn. Straight up admitting it.
Conspiracy theorists are up something like 37 and up.
We up, bro.
Senator Kennedy for the win.
Man, that's crazy, bro. Are you speaking
Y'all
facts?
greedy asses see what's going on with Mama Nose and that damn Gumbo, right? You see, the problem is y'all trust people too much. Soon as shit start trending, y'all do what the trend say. You had numerous people go and get that Gumbo and said that Gumbo was nasty. You had numerous people go and get that Gumbo and say Mama Nose had an attitude. And then you had another woman say that she wasn't about to give her money to a lugaru. And I don't think you know what that is. But you see, the quickest way for somebody to do something to you is through your stomach. Now all of a sudden, Houston Health Department is shutting her down. They're investigating her Gumbo stand. You got people saying they got sick after they ate this Gumbo. Now let me ask you this. What y'all think she put in this Gumbo? I heard a girl say, Gumbo ain't supposed to be that dark. Now me, I ain't a Gumbo specialist. I ain't never had Gumbo before. But tell me what you think she put in this Gumbo. Matter of fact, look at what this lady said about Mama No.
Okay.
Listen to this.
Okay, you are. I'm back from my Gumbo. It's awful experience. It was terrible. I haven't even tasted the Gumbo yet.
It's supposed to be that dark?
Wow.
I was so embarrassed when some people said that I wouldn't finish it out and finish my picture.
Look at that. Look at that. Somebody said they overcharging for the Gumbo too. Saying they charging $25 for a little cup of Gumbo. And people saying that you can get a big thing of Gumbo for $13. Come on now. Cause you a celebrity? Mama knows. People love you cause you Beyonce, mama knows.
Jamie Foxx just exposed the fact that they really tried to clone him in this video. The thing about it, he sprinkled some truth in it, and then he also sprinkled some, he was not trolling. The white part, maybe he was exaggerating it, but he's telling the truth. Especially the part when he said he was in good health, so he don't understand how he had that stroke. Y'all, listen to this video.
And so I snuck my phone to see what people were saying. I've just been in this hospital, and I couldn't get my mind around that I had a stroke. I'm in fucking perfect shape. The clone shit threw me. Yes. When they said I was a clone, that made me flip in the hospital. That's it. These motherfuckers is trying to clone me. I didn't have a stroke. So I'm sitting in the hospital bed like these bitch ass, and then I saw me walking into my room. But I'm white, so I see the white me. But he had a Caesar too? Just not all that, white me. And I'm like, and I'm trying to get their attention.
And then y'all seen the other buddy face, you like, damn, I don't think we should be talking about this. But like I said, Jamie Foxx is serious, y'all. Why would he wake up from the hospital bed and think, damn, I'm in perfect good health. How the hell I had a stroke? And then they're trying to clone me because he said he's seen it. He must know they really be doing shit like that.
Need to watch this video when it comes to AI data centers and our drinking water.
There's really no such thing as a closed loop system. It's still picking up water. That water in a closed loop system is being contaminated. It's picking up anti-corrosives, anti-scaling agents, biocides, and then what is happening is that water gets what's called blowdown. It gets blown back down into the aquifers or the rivers, or like what Ohio EPA is just right now allowing, they just dump it right back into the river. The water treatment facilities are not capable, they do not have the filtering media, and they are not capable of filtering those particular types of corrosives. And so that just makes its way down into our aquifers, and most of these communities are small towns and farming communities that have wells set on aquifers. So this water it's this gray sludge basically is not being cleaned, it's not being filtered, and it's being dumped right into our drinking water, or it's being dumped into a water treatment facility center that cannot handle that kind of load.
That's crazy, man. They're contaminating the water now?
You're actually a product in the Crown Corporation. It says copyright, Crown copyright at the bottom of your birth certificate. It's a copyright. They own you. They own us. Imagine that. Imagine a living being giving birth to another living being, and then that living being signing a document, giving away, because the word register means to give up the rights of. That's what the word register means. Why would I give my children, my living, breathing, conscious, spiritual, intelligent being that I've co-created with my partner, why would I then give it to a Crown Corporation government? Government has insidiously invited themselves into every aspect of our life, and that's why it seems like in spite of them we can't get out of it. Oh, if I give up my legal identity, then I can't achieve anything. Well, guess what? Totalitarian tiptoe has been creeping in since 1667.
There are two kinds of law on the earth. One is called civil law, which is the law of the land, and one is called maritime admiralty, which is called the law of water. The maritime admiralty is banking law, and the law on the maritime admiralty says that you, because you came out of your mother's water, are a maritime admiralty product. This is why the ship is sitting in its berth and is tied to the dock, and the captain has to give a certificate of manifest to the port authority, because money is changing hands. This is why when you were born, you have to have a birth certificate. It's got to be signed by the dock, because that's where the ship is tied to, is the dock. So the dock signs your birth certificate. Why? Because you came down out of your mother's water. You came down her birth canal. You are a maritime admiralty product, and therefore your birth certificate is signed by your mother. And where your mother signed on the birth certificate, get it, you will see it does not say parent or mother, it says informant. Your mother was informing the bank that she has just produced another product to be bought and sold.
Damn, what the hell?
Because you don't own your child. You sign them away using a signature. You signed your nature with a sigil. Sigil is a symbol used in witchcraft. You are born into this world, and the word born comes from barren, which means lifeless, dull, and bored. The word calendar comes from calends. Calends is the first day of the month the Romans had to pay off their debt. Calendar is an invention by Pope Gregory to remind people when to pay taxes. You are born into this copyrighted timeline, and this copyrighted timeline is on your birth certificate, which means you are owned by them. When you get a letter and your name is in full capital letters, that's your corporation, not you. You can't tax a physical body, but you can tax a corporation. You are the I am, and your consciousness is identifying itself with the corporation, which is attached to the system. Identifying yourself with the body and the name is keeping us attached to this system.
So basically they did that so they could tax us, bro.
Don't ever in your earth in life use one of these to cook
microwave,
food. Let me explain. If you don't want to pay the ultimate price, never put your food in here. Okay?
10 years ago.
Here's the instruction manual. It clearly states in English, warning, users may experience heart disease, kidney failure, fluid in the lungs. That if you use this, you might be feeling faint, nausea, discomfort, headache, coughing, irritation of the mouth and throat, stomach, discomfort,
not even
chest, palpitations, and pain. Heartburn. That's basically what it says, alright? Problems with respiratory. So never in your life use one of these. Put your food in this to cook. I know we all grew up with them, but this is just the hard truth.
Bro, cause we grew up with them. We grew up with a lot of stuff that's unhealthy for us. A lot of our folks was lazy and just ignorant, bro. I don't care, bro. Like, you gotta think about this. A lot of us grew up in the hood. You telling me you couldn't figure out nothing for 10 years, 12 years? You telling me you had to feed me unhealthy stuff for 10 years consecutively, 15 years consecutively? You ain't do no research? I'm not saying my folks in particular, but I'm just saying, like, there's no excuse, bro. A lot of parents is lazy, bro. And a lot of households are lazy. A lot of people are lazy, bro. It takes, I understand we in the information that's put out there now more commonly, but the past 6 years, you should have been got rid of this, bro.
The government.
Tell me down below, secrets, man. Do you guys still use a freaking microwave? I've been watching these clips, bro, updating what I know about the world. I don't use microwaves anymore.
Tried to cover up the truth about Gerald, that the Dolphin actually exists and did abduct that man. Meanwhile, footage emerged showing helicopters landing near the incident site, law enforcement personnel gathering, and numerous public officials getting involved in the investigation. Many people began to focus their attention on the so-called Gerald. In any case, officials are trying to stifle everyone's speculation. Some believe that the man was not chosen at random. According to his account, the one orchestrating all of this is a dolphin named Gerald. The fact that a person could persistently repeat the same story while in such an exhausted state actually made people feel it wasn't a joke. The public began to suspect that behind the claim of a dolphin kidnapping a man and forcing him to participate in some kind of underwater construction, there might indeed be some undisclosed details. Gerald is no longer just a mocking nickname, especially given statements like, "It is preparing for the second phase." To date, officials have yet to provide a clear and consistent explanation. Leave a comment below.
The clone theory exploded on the internet in recent years. Look at the pattern. Selena Gomez disappeared, came back different. Jim Carrey spoke about illusion and power, then shifted. Avril Lavigne. The internet says she was replaced entirely. Kanye West after 2016. People say he wasn't the same. Different voice, different face, different energy. Same theory goes for all of them. They suddenly disappeared and came back as different persons. But why? Why would they replace their own celebrities? And what could have happened to the real ones?
I don't know.
So you telling me that this whole time there were benefits to showering or bathing in the dark? Literally, there are people in the world that does this, and for the first time ever, I have found my people thinking I was the only one who did this before bed. You motherfuckers. Cause bro, that's smart. That's sensory reduction. That's your body. Low key. Exhale. It's not the water that feels different when the light's off. It's the dark. So try it. Try one dark shower tonight before you rest. No music, no phone, just you and that candle. And relax. And tell me your body don't feel different.
They're finally shutting down, y'all. And this might be the best news I've heard, bro. And you too, because who knows what these people were feeding us? Hundreds and hundreds of these big food chains are losing their power, and not because they want to, but it's because we're waking up. Listen to this, yo. Domino's is closing 200 of its locations worldwide, including 172 locations in Japan. Not to mention they have filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, so Domino's is going down. We know y'all were in the list. This guy over here, Papa John's, who look like he's changed over the time, over the years. Look at that. Am I mistaken, bro? But nonetheless, over 200 Papa John's are closing its doors worldwide. Pizza Hut is closing down 250 of its locations, and that's only the beginning of the year. So who knows how much they're closing down this year? Wendy's is expected to close 300 to 600 of its locations worldwide, bro. Something is going on with Wendy's. Ever since Dave left, it has never been the same. Apparently, Denny's has been closing down its locations ever since 2025, and there's about 300 more about to close its doors this year. Popeyes has also filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and they're closing down 136 stores between Georgia and Florida, bro. And Arby's. And honestly, I don't even know how Arby's hasn't made the list yet. I never see anyone in the parking lot. Anyone that's trying to eat this is diabolical, bro. This thing must be a glitch in the Matrix. Because what most people don't realize is that all of these places, they're all connected. They're all interconnected. The same suppliers, the same system, it's the same pipeline feeding y'all the same crap. I mean, look at this. They're all feeding you the same thing. That's why it's the same food everywhere, the same fast food everywhere, bro. We cannot get away, and now it's finally shutting down. Do y'all notice that all these quote-unquote celebrities and public figures, they're withering away now, bro? And that's because we're not feeding the beast system no more, bro. The shift is here. I've been telling y'all. Like I said, all of this is taking place in early the beginning of the year, bro. There's a lot more to come. Let me know what you guys think about this video. I told y'all the shift is here. We're in the midst of it. Let's continue to get it. Peace out.
Literally stretched their own skulls. Back in the 1500s, the Incas practiced something called cranial deformation. They would wrap string tightly around the newborn's head so that their heads would stretch as they grew. This would cause them to have cone-shaped heads like the one seen here. And during these times, it wasn't considered a bad thing. This was considered a symbol of beauty according to their tribe.
Whoa, okay. What do you guys think about that?
Selfie before being struck by a train. In October of 2011,
15-year-old Essa Ricker, Kelsey Webster, and 13-year-old Savannah Webster waved at a westbound train crew as they were taking a selfie. As the three took the photo standing on the tracks, they had no idea that there was a train coming right at them. After they took their photo, they decided to post it on Facebook, and they captioned it saying, "Standing right by a train, ahaha, this is awesome." They were so preoccupied with the train track selfie that they had no idea that the train was literally right behind them. The conductor on the train, John Anderson, stated that the girls looked like they were completely in their own world. The engineer on the train blasted a horn to get the girls' attention, but they were oblivious and did not even flinch. Trains travel at 55 miles per hour, and they require more than a mile to come to a halt, and this is even after emergency brakes are applied. Once the train had gotten closer to the girls, it was approximately at 39 miles per hour.
Damn.
The train conductor and engineer tried to shout at the girls, but nothing worked. They observed the girls for about 12 seconds before they vanished from their view. About a quarter mile down, the train came to a halt, and John ran back to the girls. The first girl he saw showed no signs of life, and the second girl he saw had succumbed to the accident. John had located 13-year-old Savannah near the railroad crossing. She was injured and distressed, but she was still breathing. She was sent to a hospital in Salt Lake City, and doctors discovered that she had over a dozen broken bones, internally bleeding, blood clots, and a severe brain injury. Despite efforts to save her, she tragically passed away 3 days later after the incident.
Skinwalker caught on
Tragic.
camera.
Huh?
Whoa, where you go? Run! Go.
What the hell is that?
What the hell?
The jets.
I did. Oh my gosh. He's going to the basement. You gotta lock it now. Oh shit! Oh my god. Here we go.
Yep, this doomsday clock is about to strike in 90 seconds, and when it hits midnight, that means civilization has reached its end, and it's our fault. Citizens were terrified to hear that our doomsday clock, created by a group of scientists led by Albert Einstein and Robert Oppenheimer, has just reached its end. In January 2023, during a haunting presentation, scientists unveiled the shocking state of the clock, and it was very bad. The 12-hour clock is not a normal clock, but was created to represent threat levels and how long until humanity destroys the world, midnight being the end. The clock has mostly remained hours away from midnight through history, even through many wars. But in 2020, with the onset of the pandemic, people were shocked when it was moved to 100 seconds. But now, only 3 years later in 2023, we are at 90 seconds, making it the closest it's ever been in recorded history. With the rise of deadly wars and human diseases, the climate crisis, and the rise of nuclear weapons all in 1 year, scientists are terrified, saying to brace for impact in 2024 as it may be the end of humanity as we know it. Given the state of the world this year, do you think it will be less than 60 seconds?
I really do believe.
What do you guys think, man? I didn't even know we had a freaking doomsday clock. And it's by Robert Einstein. By Einstein and Robert Oppenheimer. And it's that close. We're like teetering towards the edge, man. I don't like that at all.
I believe some people can be evil up to the point where they were even probably kids, y'all. This is the case of 4-year-old Derek Robbie. This happened in the 90s, and he was actually just walking to summer camp. His mom let him go by himself. I believe it was like 1 block away, and she let him walk there by himself for the very first time that day. Now, unfortunately, he did not make it to summer camp, and his remains were found in the nearby woods in between his house and the summer camp he was going to. Now, when they found his remains, they said that it appeared that he had been beaten with rocks and strangled, and that he had Kool-Aid poured all over his body, and unfortunately, he had also been SA'd with a stick.
Now, when all this happened, they had brought this 13-year-old in for questioning because he had been acting very strange and going around and asking people very bizarre questions, such as how long, does it take for them to collect DNA evidence, and what if they find out that the unaliver was a kid?
Weird.
And also, when he was offered Kool-Aid during the interrogation process, he threw it all over the floor. He eventually ended up confessing to unaliving this poor 4-year-old baby because he had been being bullied by other kids at school, and he was very angry about this and wanted to let out his anger on someone else. Now, this is him now, and he actually has been released from prison since all this is happening just recently and let back into society. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it, but rest in peace to this poor baby.
Coincidences in history. This is Mary Ashford, and this is Barbara Forrest. Each of these women were strangled to death, and their bodies were found just 300 yards away from each other.
Ooh.
They were both 20 years old at the time of their killings, and they shared the same birthday. On the night of their killings, both women had just got done visiting a friend, went home, changed into a new dress, and then had gone to a dance. And at this dance, they would both meet their eventual killers, who were both named Thorne. This is Abraham Thorne, the man who is presumed to have killed Mary Ashford. And this is Michael Thorne, the man who was presumed to have killed Barbara Forrest. Both these killings happened on May 27th. Mary Ashford died on May 27, 1817, and Barbara Forrest died on May 27, 1974, exactly 157 years after Mary Ashford. For more?
Do you know how long those things are like lining up? Like how many times?
Conspiracy theories, part 2. This one's really creepy. Alright guys, so you guys know how everyone said the world was going to end in 2012? What if it actually did and we're just all living in hell? Because I feel like everything in our world has just gotten progressively worse since then. Just something to think about.
Is you on to something?
The darkest conspiracy theories. The iPhone theory. An iPhone stands for I. It is also secretly listening to your conversations. What does Siri spell backwards? Siri backwards spells iris. And if you look at the Apple logo closely, it represents the first sin.
Disney just got completely exposed. Okay, so we all know how Disney is known for all their classic movies. Well, what if I told you every single one of these movies is a copy and paste of another one? Disney literally recycles animation from other movies, and then change little things like characters and...
Whoa. That won't be the first time something like that happened. Damn, there's similarities. Maybe it drew inspiration, or do you think they just simply copied and pasted it to another movie? No, you saw the similarities.
Let me get a pair of twins. All right? They're born the same time, they're the same age. And now one of them I will send off at 90% the speed of light. And the other I'll keep down here on Earth. So we can ask, how does their aging rates compare? Okay? Turns out, this twin that I've already sent, his clock ticks 44% as fast as this twin's clock, our clock, here on Earth. So, this twin is aging more slowly than this one. That's at 90% the speed of light. Let's pump it up some more. How about 99% the speed of light? Now the time ticks at only 14% the rate, as it does back here on Earth. How about 99.9%? We're getting closer and closer to the speed of light itself. And at that speed, the clock ticks only 4.5% as fast. So, what does this mean? Tell you what it means. This twin that traveled for 5 years and comes back, if they went at 99.9% the speed of light, after 5 years, they're 5 years older. We have aged 110 years.
Damn.
It's called the twin paradox.
This isn't an animal video, but I feel like not enough people know this, and I honestly have nothing better to do. So I was going back and forth with one of my friends, and we were insulting each other the way only real friends can. And she would say, at least I got 2 functional knees, so I said, at least I got 2 functional parents. You know, cute stuff like that. And she was like, at least my nipples work. I could not tell you where that flex came from, but fun fact. Men actually can produce milk, and it happens more often than you think. Men's nipples are fully functional, it's just that they get suppressed by male hormones. And the hormone responsible for making milk is prolactin, and the production of prolactin is controlled by dopamine and estrogen. Basically, these hormones send a message to the pituitary gland and tell it to either stop or continue releasing prolactin. But sometimes a hormone malfunction can cause men to lactate. The weirdest example I can think of is back in World War II. When prisoners of war ate a full meal after being starved for months, their hormones shot up faster than their liver could keep up with, causing them to spontaneously lactate. Also, if your pituitary gland forgets that it's not supposed to release prolactin, you can end up dripping Nesquik too. In really rare cases, nipple stimulation while holding a baby was enough to cause lactation in some men. But also there's a chance it means you have a tumor. So yeah, men can produce milk, and I can't produce a healthy way to explain my...
I didn't even know that was possible. These things, when we watch these clips, tap in with us. You gonna learn some new things. It's gonna blow your mind away. I always thought that was a myth.
Here's some of the biggest movie mistakes you never noticed. In the movie American Sniper, in this scene, they replaced the baby with a literal doll. And if you look closely, you'll see Bradley Cooper moving the doll's hand with his thumb to make it appear more real. But that doll isn't fooling anyone. Next, in Harry Potter in the Chamber of Secrets, in this scene where Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy battle, if you look closely, you can see a cameraman watching the fight who's obviously not supposed to be there. Next, in the movie Jurassic Park, in this scene where 2 raptors enter the kitchen, when it cuts to the next shot, you can actually see a human hand pushing the dinosaur. Apparently, a crew member was trying to keep the balance of the model dinosaur, but no one noticed, and it slipped through editing and made the final movie. So in Thor: The Dark World, Thor very casually and politely hangs his hammer up on the coat rack, which wasn't in the script and sparked a huge debate online about whether the coat rack is worthy. Now in Harry Potter, Severus Snape tells Harry that he has the eyes of his mother, but the problem with that is his mother has brown eyes and he has blue eyes. And in Jason Bourne, in this scene, he's supposed to disappear into the surrounding city, and at first glance it looks like he does. But if you look closely, as this little car passes him, you can see his bright red jacket and his feet try to hide behind it.
Here's some of the most random fun facts you will ever hear in your life. Armadillo shells are actually bulletproof. One time a man was hospitalized when he shot at an armadillo and the bullet ricocheted off the shell and hit him instead. There's only one letter in the entire alphabet that isn't in any US state name, and that letter is Q. There's not a single state with the letter Q in its name. 71% of the earth is covered in water, and humans can only use 0.007% of that water. 2.5% of the total water is fresh water, and only 1% of that is actually accessible. The bumblebee bat is the smallest mammal in the entire world. These things can rest on your fingertips and you might not even know because they weigh 0.05 to 0.07 ounces. Ostriches are the world's largest and heaviest living bird. It's why they can't fly, but they are built for running, and they can reach speeds of up to 43 miles per hour, and they can pretty easily coast at 30 miles per hour. The longest English word is 189,819,000 letters long. It's a protein and its nickname is titin, and it would take around 3.5 hours to say the word out loud.
Okay, what the hell is that word? See, because if anybody can find it, put it down below, man. I gotta see that.
Crazy shark facts you'll never believe. Number 1, they have teeth all over
over their body. They're actually called dermal denticles, and some sharks even have teeth over their eyes, such as the whale shark. It's what gives them that sandpaper type of texture. Number 2, some sharks can live a seriously long time. The Greenland shark, for instance, can live for over 500 years. Their flesh is also toxic, and they're the slowest shark on record and almost the same size as the great white. Number 3, they can go on some seriously crazy diets. Basically, the great white shark cannot eat for up to 12 months. They can actually survive off of fatty oil stored inside their body. 4, they can literally sense electricity. That is one of the shark's amazing superpowers, and they can detect electromagnetic fields in the water using a specialized organ called the ampullae of Lorenzini, which are gel-filled pores all around their nose. 5, some sharks have 360-degree vision, or at least the hammerhead shark does. It's pretty crazy, but these guys have eyes that are so far apart, yet they can still create one whole image, which gives them a 360 viewpoint.
I got the Byakugan, bro.
And you should follow them.
Facts I bet you didn't know, part 1. Your lips and anus are connected by the same tube. 90% of serial killers choose their victims by sexual desire. Your organs move freely around your body. Crows used to follow armies to feed on dead bodies. Human sacrifice was a real thing in Aztec Mexico.
What the hell? More you know.
Easily one of the most shocking creatures in the world. Literally. Meet the electric ray. It's like a regular stingray, except with the powers of Thor. They're electrical hunters with no predators and a shock strong enough to knock out a human. But the crazy part is the way they hunt. What they do is they go and swim above their prey and wrap their fins around, creating this tunnel. And then they just start electrocuting with 200 volts from every single direction. And it's not just one shock. They will electrocute their prey up to 500 times in the matter of seconds. And according to scientists, they can unload a kilowatt of energy in one attack. Thor, come get your friends. But the cherry on top is the fact that they can also use their electricity for electroreception, which means you can't hide from them. They can sense the whereabouts of any creature by detecting their electrical pulses. In other words, they're superheroes. Moral of the story, if you're ever in the ocean, I recommend staying away from swimming tasers. And as always, follow for more facts.
I'm staying away from them, bro. Talk about what a pet it. You're just gonna get shocked. Looks like they're worse than stingrays, bro. 10 times worse. Edit.
These are scary cartoon truths that would terrify you, part 10. Okay, so Hello Kitty was created back in the 1970s by a Chinese woman whose daughter had cancer. The doctors told the mother there was nothing she could do, and her daughter will die. The mother then went to every church and prayed for her daughter, but none of it worked. The mother then became very desperate and turned to devil worshipping and satanic rituals. She then made a pact with the devil himself. But if the devil cured her daughter's cancer, he wanted one thing in return. He wanted her to create a cartoon character to appeal to children all over the world and to trick people into worshipping the devil. And when her daughter recovered from cancer, she kept her promise and created Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty has no mouth because her daughter had mouth cancer. Her pointy ears represent the devil's horns. The word kitty means demon in Chinese, so Hello Kitty actually means hello demon.
What do you guys think about that one, man? I'm telling you, I said this, the media and stuff, be consuming all these, you know, high profile brands. They would be based on some dark stories. Hello,
There's an
demon.
active serial killing group in Austin, Texas. I've been seeing videos all over my For You page talking about the Smile murders, and I'm going to be honest, this is absolutely terrifying. From what I understand, the Smile murders are either a group of people or a singular person leaving this tagline after unaliving someone. This just looks like a normal takeout bag near the lake sitting on a tree. Well, what was found underneath it is absolutely terrifying. It is, yes, an unalived person near the lakeside. Now, the two craziest parts to me is the target is younger men. The second part is that there's been 12 bodies found since 2022 at Lady Bird Lake. And alone this year, there's been already 3. You're probably thinking to yourself, Chris, well, can you go swimming at Lady Bird Lake? Are they drowning? Because that's been the cause of death of most of these people. No, you can't. There's poisonous algae in there. Meaning that if you go swimming in there, you're probably cooked. Now, if you don't believe me, this is the timeline in the area that people are found. On top of that, it seems like people are mostly coming from Rainer Street. From what I've heard and what I understand is the hotspot in Austin, where they have all the bars and it's just like a massive strip. This has been a conspiracy for a long time that there's a group of people unaliving others, but not only in Austin. There's been things in Manchester, there's been things in Boston, but a lot of people are thinking that it's just an organized group, unaliving people and leaving this Smiley tagline. Well, and all this is just absolutely terrifying. If you're in the area, stay safe.
This case is exactly why
national news.
Rugs, y'all. This is the case of Carly Lucet, and I want to say this happened back in 2013. So she actually disappeared on October 13th, and she was a big fan of scary movies and things of that nature. And when she ended up disappearing, she snuck out to go to her boyfriend's house, and during that time they had taken some type of unknown rug. Now when she had got back home, she had called her stepmom to come pick her up. She was obviously very paranoid, and her mother recorded her, and there is audio recording that I will attach to the end of this video. Now during this recording, the stepmom thought that it would be a good idea to do this. I don't know why. Instead of taking her to the hospital so that the next day she could show her this video and hopefully she won't do these rugs again. Unfortunately, that is not what happened, and according to what I looked into, she ended up, while her parents were asleep, leaving the house and just walking and wandering around the forest and the woods. And she had been spotted that evening, and according to what I looked into, a couple years later, she was spotted again by some bikers, but that wasn't 100% certain if it was her. Now, since then, she has not been spotted, but the crazy thing is her dad was arrested for DV charges, and was charged with those. So according to what I looked into, that is the latest update I have seen on this case, and she has not been seen since then. I just think it's very bizarre that the first thing you're going to do is when you see your child acting paranoid, you're going to record them. I'm going to attach the footage to the end of this.
Do you want to take a shower? Think it'll make you feel better? I'm eating the devil's lettuce. You're eating lettuce that I just freshly chopped that I bought from the grocery store. I don't know why. Why are you eating the devil's lettuce? Because I'm just thinking all these demonic stuff and I can't help it. You're okay. Do you want to call them? Why are you looking at that? No, you just said you wouldn't. Would you call them?
There's a horrific murder case that's happening right now out of Arizona that's still unsolved. Let's talk about what happened to Mercedes Vega. On April 16th of this year, Mercedes was abducted from the parking garage of her Tempe, Arizona apartment and brutally killed. That night, security footage shows her walking into her apartment's parking garage a little after 9 p.m. She was on her way to meet her friends and have a fun night at Dave & Buster's, but in this footage, she had no idea what was about to happen to her. Sometime before making it to her car, she was attacked and taken by at least 2 people, and the details that follow are still a mystery. A little after 1 a.m. the next morning, the Department of Public Safety was called in to investigate a car that was on fire along the side of Interstate 10 in Tonopah. Upon arriving to the scene, they found Mercedes' burned body in the back seat, and she was deceased. In the last few hours of her life, she was tortured, and according to the medical examiner, she had been shot in the arm, had blunt force trauma to her head, and had traces of bleach in her throat. But all of this did not kill her. She ultimately died from smoke inhalation while being burned alive in that car. Investigators also found gloves and bleach in the front seat and lighter fluid in the back, but there are still a ton of questions that remain in this case, and nothing about this makes any sense. The car that Mercedes was found in was not her car. Her car, which was a 2019 Dodge Charger, was found abandoned near Mill Avenue in Tempe. She was not burned in her own vehicle, and so far, investigators still don't know who the car she was found in belongs to. One of the big questions in this case is how did her car get from her apartment to where it was found? And who drove the other car to Tonopah? Mercedes' parents believe that this was a targeted attack and that death wasn't the ultimate goal, but that Mercedes fought back, which resulted in her death. Her parents mentioned that she danced at a club 2 nights a week, and many question if her death could possibly be connected back to someone she met while at work. It's now been 7 months, and Mercedes' murder is still unsolved. Whoever committed this vicious attack is still out there. Right now, there is a silent witness award of up to $2,000 for information leading to an arrest. But if you'd like to donate to up that reward or to report a tip, please contact the number on the screen. For more information on this case and to show your support, please follow this account that was created for Mercedes that's run by her family. She and her family deserve justice.
Lady married her dead boyfriend. In 1978, in a small town in Ohio, there was a woman named Linda Smith who was head over heels in love with her boyfriend. They had talked about marriage endlessly, but just weeks before their wedding, her boyfriend tragically died in a car accident. Linda was devastated. Her boyfriend named Lemmy Leaf was the best boyfriend ever to her. One evening, Linda couldn't take it anymore, and she dug up her boyfriend's grave with the help of her two brothers. She announced she was still going to marry him. The townspeople were baffled, and some thought grief had driven her mad. Linda planned an eerie wedding party and invited everyone, wearing a white dress beside Max's corpse in a suit. Then came the twist. Linda didn't plan on returning her boyfriend to his grave. Instead, she decided that they will live together and have a family. All her friends and family saw her as a mad woman, but she didn't care. She kept her boyfriend inside a refrigerator and would occasionally bring him out for a walk. About 11 months later, she got pregnant, but you already know how she got that child.
Creepy last words people said right before dying. Laura says that she works in a palliative unit, and many dying patients claim to see nuns. The nuns are said to be dressed in all white or all black. She said that many patients' last words before they died were related to the nuns. She said that one time a patient told her, "Will you tell the nun to stop waking me up at night?" She kept waking me up to see if I was okay. On another occasion, she asked a patient who he was talking to, and he replied, "The nun sitting over there." One night, Laura was sitting down, and she noticed someone dressed in all black go into a patient's room. She found it odd for a visitor to come in at 2 a.m., especially since the patient never had visitors before. She decided to peek in the room to see who the visitor was, but when she walked in, there was no one there. The patient passed later that night, even though Laura says that when she put him to bed that night, he didn't seem close to death at all. Laura says that it freaks her out when the patients talk about the nuns.
If you hear bones,
the nun is real.
You at night, you better run. The Gashidokaru are a yokai from Japanese folklore dating back 1,000 years. They are described as malevolent skeletal giants that can be as big as 15 times the size of a human. It's said that these giants wander around in the middle of the darkest nights, and if they see a human, they'll sneak up behind them. The last thing the victim will hear is the clinking of bones and the chattering of teeth before the Gashidokaru reaches down with its skeleton hands to crush them, bite off their head to drink their blood. According to the folklore, these things are created when people died from war and famine and didn't receive a proper burial. Unable to move on, their souls become angry ghosts, and when hundreds of them gather together, their hatred ferments and twists into this supernatural force, bringing the bones of the deceased together into this gigantic and horrific form. They're thought to be indestructible, so the only way to ward them off is with a Shinto charm. But what do you think of the Gashidokaru? Make sure to leave a comment and like and follow this channel for more 4TN content.
I think the Gashidokaru, boy, if I've ever heard of that freaking anime called Attack on Titan, I'm guessing that's where it took the inspiration from, because those designs are kind of similar, bro. Hey, man, like we said, we finding out, watching these videos together, that all pieces of media, man, they originate from somewhere, bro. Folklore, rumors, legends. That's what I learned, bro, watching these videos together with you guys. Edit.
Imagine going into surgery to try to fix a condition, but you actually come out looking much worse. Well, that's exactly what happened to 29-year-old Kayla Cannon. She was born with congenital ptosis, which is basically a condition where your eyes droop, and she wanted to fix this problem, so she went to a specialist, and then she came out looking like this. Kayla decided to get this procedure done with Dr. Harvey Chip Cole, who's located in Atlanta. This doctor made a ton of mistakes during this procedure, one of them being removing half of her eyelids, which caused a lot of tightness and left her looking like this. After the botched surgery, Kayla had a serious infection and could barely close her eyes because of how tight they were. And she had to undergo 7 additional surgeries to correct the damage, and she was left with these permanent scars. Kayla's devastated because she feels like she went through this procedure only to look worse than what she did, and this is the first time that this doctor did something like this. This is another patient who was also botched, and she came out right after Kayla spoke out about this doctor, and the crazy thing about this is that he is still practicing.
normal
Take his license
photos
away.
with disturbing backstories. This might look like a normal family photo, but the reality is terrifying. The man in the yellow sweater is named John, and he's holding a baby named Heather. Heather grew up thinking she was adopted by John's brother, making John her uncle. But one day, a phone call changed everything. She had overheard a phone call saying her uncle was arrested. John Edward Robinson was connected to the deaths of multiple missing women, including 19-year-old Lisa Stassi, who was last seen with her 4-month-old daughter Tiffany, who went missing. And that's when Heather realized she's Tiffany. The man she thought was her uncle was actually her mother's killer. John had faked adoption papers and tricked his own brother into adopting his victim's daughter. And for 15 years, no one knew the truth. Follow for more.
Did you know
He never
Ronald
knew.
McDonald is no longer the mascot of McDonald's because of a chilling incident in 2010? This terrifying tale took place in Cuernavaca, Mexico. At a local McDonald's, a statue of Ronald McDonald sat on a bench, a popular spot for photos. Everything seemed normal until one night, when 2 gas station workers from across the street decided to take a break. One went to the bathroom while the other sat next to Ronald, saying, "I'm tired." To his horror, Ronald replied, "Me too." The man, stunned and terrified, leapt from the bench and suffered a fatal heart attack. Hearing the commotion, the second worker rushed out of the bathroom. He saw something so terrifying that he shared the story with everyone he could. However, days later, he fell into a coma and passed away. McDonald's allegedly erased the security footage from the gas station's cameras and quietly removed most of the Ronald statues. This eerie event might explain Ronald McDonald's near disappearance from the brand.
I'm about to show you one of the
I've always wondered, yeah, why he's like evaporated from the brand. Maybe something, I don't know if it was like remote activated but had automated responses, but that's sure, that's a solid reason why they got rid of him. Or did something else happen?
most interesting graves in Texas. It's in the Texas State Cemetery in Austin. I visited the other day. It was a cold, dark day. If you walk into the cemetery, you'll notice all the Texas flags and the Texas monuments. These people that were buried here were proud to be Texans. But if you keep walking, you'll notice the Confederate field where Confederate soldiers are buried, and right next to that is the grave of Albert Sidney Johnson. He was at one point considered the strongest general in the Confederacy. He was killed possibly by one of his own troopers. He was killed during the Civil War at the Battle of Shiloh, possibly by one of his own soldiers, and his body was initially buried in New Orleans, but he was moved back to Texas. In 1905, a sculptor was hired to create this monument, and let me tell you, it's eerie because it depicts Albert Sidney Johnson exactly how he looked as he lay dying on the day of his death. It's an eerie monument, it's life-size, it's right in the shadow of Stephen F. Austin's grave at the top of the hill here at the cemetery, and it's very, very, very interesting to see in person.
He was pointing at it. Like, is it connected or something? The whole sculpture, the last moment of before you leave the world, that's definitely eerie.
I don't know if you guys know who these people are, but this is Alana and Brock, and they have a family vlogging channel. They live in Australia, and Alana makes a ton of TikToks about her daughter, Daisy, and how she's sick. Okay? It has just been found that her daughter does not have all of these sicknesses that they previously thought she did, and she was actually being poisoned. Now, Alana had just come on TikTok not too long ago crying and saying how her daughter had brain tumors all through her scans, and her daughter has been sick for a very, very long time. It was found that increased high levels of benzodiazepines were found in Daisy's bloodstream that was leading to her sicknesses. Alana has been profiting off of Daisy's sickness. She has GoFundMe pages, all of her TikToks that are now deleted, the whole page is deleted. All of it has been her doing this to her daughter, allegedly. Daisy's dad said he had no clue about any of this, and the children, because they had multiple kids, were taken out of their care, and right now Daisy is recovering.
So Amy Slayton from
Clout was
Chelsea's
dangerous,
1,000 Pound
man.
Sisters was just arrested, and the way she was arrested is an actual fever dream. Like, honestly, I feel bad because if this goes the wrong way, she could lose custody of her children. So on Labor Day, Amy Slayton, her boyfriend, and 2 children went to a safari park in Alamo, Tennessee. It's basically like a drive-through zoo where you can feed the animals and pet them if they let you. We don't know exactly how it went down yet, but sources are saying that Amy was bit by one of the camels. I don't know if the injury was so bad that Amy called the police or if it's just the park's policy to call the authorities anytime someone is bit by an animal, but the police were called, and when they approached Amy's car, they immediately smelled some green flower, if you know what I mean, and when the authorities looked inside, they allegedly saw the flower and some special mushrooms in plain sight. Amy and her boyfriend Brian Lavorne faced charges of illegal possession of Schedule 1 and Schedule 6, and because the children were in the car, they also faced 2 counts of child endangerment. We know that the children are safe and staying with Amy's family members, but Tennessee's Child Protective Services are still investigating, so this could end very badly for Amy. And as of now, I'm pretty sure Amy is still in the Crockett County Jail on a $10,000 bond. I am unaware if 1,000 Pound Sisters is even filming right now, but if you are, let me know in the comments.
Oh, they're TV stars, what the hell?
Out loud, you might die. Hello, my name is Tamino, the creator of the poem Tamino's Hell. I was a boy who lived in Japan. I had very strict parents who would commonly give me cruel and unfair punishments, and was beat by my sisters. One day, I wrote this poem about my journey through hell, fueled by my sisters. But be careful, do not read it out loud. My parents found this poem and dragged me to the cellar and locked me in for several days. They did not bring me food or water, and I passed away due to starvation. My spirit now haunts this poem, and anyone who reads it out loud will be cursed with the same feelings of helplessness and despair that I once felt, as well as extremely bad luck, including accidents, sudden illness, or loss of their voice, and eventually, loss of life. So don't risk it, and always remember...
Dirty Facts About History That They'll Never Teach You in School, Part 4. In her famous diary, Anne Frank originally wrote many explicit details involving her lady part's menstruation and pleasuring herself. Her father, Otto, cut those parts out. John Harvey Kellogg, one of the Kellogg brothers who invented breakfast cereal, advocated for sewing silver wires through boys' foreskins to prevent them from masturbating. In 1969, Yoko Ono released a film entitled Self-Portrait, consisting of a 42-minute shot of her husband John Lennon's semi-erect member. Following its initial screening, the film was never shown again. Often referred to as the father of vegetarianism, Sylvester Graham shunned alcohol, white bread, meat, and lust. He popularized whole grain food products and originally invented the graham cracker in the early 1800s to stop people from masturbating or having sexual desires. In 1851, Graham died of complications from an opium enema at the age of 57.
Damn, he was still young, man. Those facts blow my damn mind. People back in the day were had some extreme methods, man. To say the least.
This man vanished in the 90s, and then, 30 years later, mysteriously showed back up on his family's doorstep with no explanation. This is the bizarre case of Vasile Gorgos. In 1991, Vasile Gorgos, a 63-year-old cattle seller from eastern Romania, disappeared without a trace after leaving for a business trip. Through his work in the cattle business, he would frequently travel to other cities. He bought a train ticket as he usually did and told his wife and kids he'd be back in a few days. He left that day, but never returned. His family reported him missing to the authorities, but after months of searching, they feared the worst. Police theorized he met with foul play, and his relatives knew he wouldn't intentionally run away as he had a family and worked extremely hard for his cattle business. It was ultimately determined that he most likely passed, and his family held a memorial service for him. Fast forward to August 2021, it was a quiet Sunday afternoon when an unknown vehicle stopped in front of the Gorgos home. An older man stepped out as the car quickly sped away, and to everyone's shock, who got out of the car? It was Vasile. His family was in complete shock. He was now 93 years old. He was clean and wearing the same clothes he wore 30 years prior when he went on that ill-fated trip. Along with his clothing, they also found that train ticket he bought 30 years ago, along with some identification. But he barely recognized his family.
and seems to have no memory of where he's been the past 30 years. He seems to remember events before the time he disappeared, but nothing from the 30 years he was missing. And after the media got a hold of this story, people had so many questions. As for the car that dropped him off that day and sped away, neighbors said they weren't able to get the license plate or see what the driver looked like. This is one of the strangest stories I've ever heard, and many like myself wonder what happened and who dropped him off that day. Some have pointed to him possibly having another family. Others have speculated a glitch in the universe or time travel. Personally, I am stumped. What are your theories? Where was he those 30 years?
It's a glitch, bro. Like they said, glitch in the matrix. Something happened, bro. That much time
You're out
gone.
and about and see a duplicate of yourself standing in front of you. And I'm sorry, my friend, but the end is near. Well, at least according to Irish folklore. You see, today we're looking at an entity called the Fetch. Now, the Fetch is a very simple concept. It's an exact duplicate of you. Though its appearance is regarded as an omen, usually indicating that your time is near, my friend. Though according to some, the time of day a fetch appears completely changes what it's meant to be indicating. So if you see a fetch in the morning, according to some, it's actually a good sign indicating a long life. This folklore series is quite fun, isn't it? Are you ready for the next episode?
I'm going to warn everybody right now, the case that we're about to cover is easily one of the most disturbing true crime stories I've ever heard in my life, so viewer discretion is really advised for this one. This is Kevin Davis. He was 18 years old back in 2014 when this horrific event took place. Kevin lived here in Corpus Christi, Texas, and shared an apartment with his mother, Kimberly, and his sister, Destiny. On May 26, 2014, Kevin snapped. He had been having homicidal thoughts for a long time, but on that particular day, he decided to bring his dreams and his fantasies into reality. On that morning, Kevin told his mother, Kimberly, that he wanted to unalive himself, and she told him that she couldn't stop him if he wanted to. After hearing this unexpected response from his mother, Kevin went into a rage. He grabbed a cord and attempted to strangle his mother on the couch where she was sitting. But his mom, Kimberly, managed to fight him off, and in a panic, Kevin went into the other room and grabbed a hammer. Now, this is where it gets really disturbing, so if you're still here with me and you have a weak stomach, don't keep listening. Kevin then bashed his own mother's skull in with the hammer, hitting her at least 20 times, and he then grabbed a knife from the kitchen and inserted the knife into the head wound. At that point, Kimberly's head was opened up, she had a massive head wound, and her brain was exposed, and Kevin stuck his hand into his own mother's head and played with her brains. He later told detectives that it felt like putty. Now, after his mother was dead, Kevin dragged her corpse into another room and her, which is unbelievably shocking and disgusting. After all this was said and done, he went to a neighbor's house, told them to call 911, told them that he had just murdered someone, and he was arrested without incident. When Kevin ultimately arrived at the police station, he was brutally honest with investigators about his crimes. I listened to the entire interrogation, and I cannot unhear some of the things that he told investigators. It's vile and shocking. But at one point, he smiles at the investigators with a little grin and says, "Yes, I guess I lost my..." to a corpse. After his trial, he was handed down a sentence of life in prison. He's still alive, he's still in Texas right now, and he even admitted to investigators that if he was given the chance, if he were out on the street again, he would kill again. I'm sorry to have to fill your guys' minds with this stuff, but this is a truly disturbing case that I can't stop thinking about because of how horrific it is, and yeah, I cannot believe that this happened.
No words for that case, man. Speechless. Let's look at that.
This case is considered law enforcement's most baffling case. Jason Jolkowski was born on June 24th of 1981. Jason's parents were Jim and Kelly. Jason was incredibly loved, and he would become a big brother when his little brother, Michael, was born. Jason was more of a quiet kid. He didn't really have like a huge group of friends. He was very mindful about the people he let into his life, so he did have a small group of friends and he was very loyal to them. But Jason was also incredibly intelligent. He had dreams of being a radio DJ, and he did work part-time while he was in college as a DJ, and people said that when he was on radio, he became very peppy and lively. Like, it was a completely different personality. He was very talented at being a DJ. He was currently taking a break from his classes at the community college he was going to in Iowa because his parents simply could not afford it. But he very much planned on going back to school. He had just recently gotten another job that offered tuition reimbursement, and he was very excited to continue his studies so he could become a radio DJ. But on top of wanting to be a radio DJ, he also was very religious and talked about maybe one day becoming a priest. Jason was not the kind of kid that was involved in partying or drugs. He was a very studious and responsible young man. But before he was starting this new job, he was currently working a job at Fazoli's. On June 13th of 2001, Jason was called into work. His boss called him and asked if he would come into work early that day at Fazoli's. Jason agreed to this, but his car was currently in the shop getting work done to it, so he told his boss that he would just walk to work, which would have been about 4 miles away from his home in Omaha, Nebraska. But his boss said, we have another person coming in, I can have them come pick you up and take them to work. So Jason agreed to meet with this person at the high school that both him and his coworker had gone to school at. This would have been about 8 blocks away from his house, or half a mile. They agreed to meet at the school at 11 a.m. and the last known sighting of Jason was about 10:45 in the morning when their neighbor saw Jason and his younger brother Michael taking the trash cans from the street back to the garage. This would have been about 10:45. Jason is then seen walking toward his high school right after taking these trash cans back from the curb to the house. And sometime in this 10-minute walk, it would have been about 10 minutes to get from his house to the high school, Jason simply vanishes. We'll get into more in part 2. Give me a couple of minutes to film it and get it up. It'll be down in the comments.
That'll keep me up. The Abigail project is definitely one of those. It's one of the most disturbing experiments I've ever read about. Sometime in July of 2003, there was a government document that was declassified that talked about an experiment that took place back in 1945, post-war. It was led by Dr. Albert Weston and a team, and their task was to create a biological weapon out of a human. And for some reason, he decided the subject of this experiment was going to be his daughter, Abigail. It was a series of months where she was fed growth hormones, they gave her classified substances, and she had her entire body surgically modified. But the experiment was a failure. She had completely lost touch with who she was no longer cognizant of what was going on, and most of her instincts had reverted into primal instincts. Considering what the doctor had done to his daughter, he would take his life after 2 years into the experiment, and according to these documents, the experiment, meaning her, was lost. Nobody really knows what happened to her.
Never say this out loud, or you will die. There's a cursed Japanese poem called Tomato's Hell. And supposedly, if you read it out loud, you will die or be cursed for life. Now, you can read it in your head. This is where things get crazy. A man named Suji Teriyama decided to make and direct a movie based on the poem. Exactly 1 week after the release of the movie, he suddenly dropped dead. By the way, y'all, I asked y'all to name our new baby, and the highest voted name was Steve. So I guess when this guy hatches, his name will be Steve. Since we got this baby together, you do owe me child support. Now this other story is also crazy. There was a schoolgirl that was dared to say the poem out loud. Look, you got friends daring you to do stuff like that. You need to get rid of them. Literally 1 week after doing the dare, she suddenly dropped dead. Woo, look at that, baby. Look at that. Sheesh. I flashed the poem somewhere in this video, but I'm telling you, if you find it, don't read it out loud. Or I'm gonna come to your funeral and tell everybody you're stupid. You're stupid.
Okay. Stay away from that poem, Seekers.
This is a scary story about April and her, and it's absolutely shocking.
Alright.
There was a bus driving late at night, and it was completely packed full of people. Suddenly, an old woman on the bus became ill, and she asked the bus driver to stop the bus. They were on a country road surrounded by a forest, so the driver told her to wait. But the old woman began to throw a fit, screaming and yelling at the bus driver, demanding him to stop the bus. The bus driver then pulled over to the side of the road, and the old woman got out and ran into the woods. When the old woman came back from the woods, she was holding a little girl's hand who was crying. When they got back in the bus, everybody asked the little girl what was wrong. She said her mother brought her into the woods and placed her on a tree, then tied a rope around her neck and said, "Whenever you get bored, just jump. Don't worry, it won't hurt."
What?
The old woman said she didn't know why, but she felt something was wrong in the woods. And when she got in the woods, she caught the girl while she was jumping. The bus driver then began to drive again, and he suddenly saw a young woman standing on the road. He then stopped the bus. When the young woman got in the bus, the little girl stood up and said, "Mommy, you promised it wouldn't hurt."
On May 29th of this year, Natalie Reynolds went live on Kick, and shortly after it started, she is seen trying to convince a woman to jump into the lake. The woman then claims that she cannot swim but only floats. Natalie then says,
"I'll give you $20. $20? Yeah, that's a.
The woman then jumps into the water, followed by the staff running down the dock, and Natalie acts as if she wasn't just trying to convince the woman to jump in the water. Instead of helping the woman that she knows cannot swim, her and her friends leave the scene and are making jokes about the fact that Natalie thought she was just drunk and not mentally ill.
"I can't swim. I can only float."
She might literally die.
No, stop. Seriously, don't stop. Please, you're actually freaking me out. No! She said she's drowning. She said she's drowning.
I think you literally just heard.
No, I didn't.
Nah, this is bad.
What the hell?
Since then, Natalie has received a lot of hate, and several people are claiming she should be charged with attempted murder. What are your thoughts?
That's crazy, man. You know, kick streaming, bro. Those kick streamers, have been hearing a lot about them. How they just be doing like degenerate stuff on the internet. They be doing anything and everything for clout views. That goes to show you, man, how far a person would do just to get some attention. That's actually insane.
Ask you, can you tell that there is something wrong with the picture that I'm going to show you? This one is really interesting. So the information I could find on the photo is that we think it was taken by a realtor. He had gone alone to basically inspect a home that was foreclosed on that he was about to put on the market. What's odd about this photo is that if you look at it really closely, you're like, the photo is kind of blurred, like it was taken in motion, because in the background there is something very wrong. Quickly before we get into it, thank you so much for all of the support for my podcast, Creep Time the Podcast. You don't even know how to process being top 10 in the country. That is incredible. If you have not listened, go click the link in my bio. Seen in the background of that photo, it was very clear that he was not alone in that basement. Although he claimed he didn't see anything, he just got a strange feeling, so he kind of took the photo and then rushed out of the room. But this person was confirmed to not be the homeowner. So who was hiding out in that basement?
Who was that? He didn't even see him there?
This is a disturbing cryptid iceberg with actual evidence behind it. Would have posted this video sooner, but it was my birthday 2 days ago and I was out of town, so I'll make sure I give you guys some good ones to make up for me being gone. Okay, so this picture represents cryptids from the least disturbing to the most, and we've already covered this one, so we're going to go on to tier 3.
Okay.
This is the Dave Shealy's 2000 Skunk 8 footage, and what you're seeing is in the Florida Everglades, and you can see this Skunk 8 just moving. I mean, look how quick it is walking. A lot of people believe that this footage is real just because if you've ever been to the Florida Everglades, there's no way somebody can move that fast. Next one is the ivory-billed woodpecker video, and this was an animal that was supposed to be extinct I don't know how many hundreds of years ago, and this one is actually confirmed. It's going to be a little tough to see, but you'll see over here this little bird flying like this. I don't know, it's pretty cool to me. This is the Pennsylvania White Bigfoot video, and what you're looking at is supposed to be a Sasquatch. I don't know, it doesn't really look like Bigfoot to me. Interesting about this video is when they posted this video, they put a white Sasquatch. Was a really big claim, but what they didn't know is in 1973, 2 girls reported seeing the exact same white Sasquatch in basically the same spot. If you guys want to see tier 4, make sure to like and follow for more videos, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. If your plane is crashing into the water, just know that flight attendants are trained to not allow any dead bodies on life rafts. That means no saving grandma for her funeral, simply yeet that bitch overboard. What? 1 out of every 50 women have a third nipple, and 1 out of every 100 men do too. This is known as a supernumerary nipple, and Mark Wahlberg actually has one. Harry Styles has 2. Your baby foreskin can be used as replacement skin for burn victims. That means one can quite literally be a dick face. There are corn stars born in the year 2003. That's the same year The Cat in the Hat came out. Male fetuses get boners in the womb.
And these can often be seen on ultrasounds. Motherfucker.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream, make him the cutest.
On May 26, 2020, Clint Brower went to a laundromat to do some laundry when he noticed a man acting suspicious. That man was Micah Harrington. According to reports, Clint believed Micah had intentions to hurt people, so Clint pulled out a knife and stabbed him over 30 times. And to be clear, Micah never acted out in violence. He then tied a rope around Micah, dragged him into the parking lot, having hopes that someone would, quote, put him back together. If that doesn't make sense to you, it also doesn't make sense to me. When police arrived, Clint was arrested and Micah was pronounced deceased. The mugshot in itself is eerie to know that he was smiling just after taking an innocent man's life. And as of Monday, June 3rd, 2024, Clint has been sentenced to life in prison. What are your thoughts? Saw the report.
Damn.
Scientists found the largest male specimen of the most venomous spider in the world in Australia. This is the funnel web spider, and the size of it is disgusting, but the thing that freaks me out about it is the strength of the damn thing. We're talking fangs so sharp they can apparently crack through a fingernail. A fingernail?
Oh.
What? And nothing prepared me to actually see a close-up of the fangs. Maybe this is a woolly mammoth.
Creepy facts that you shouldn't read. Your mind gets sense when someone is staring at you even when you're asleep, which explains why you randomly wake up during the night. Spirits are more active at night and mostly exist in air-conditioned rooms. They look and stare at you at night. They read your mind and try to speak and show your future dreams. Follow if you're scared.
Has that happened to any of you guys, Seekers? Especially about, like, waking up at night?
Breaking news, they've officially released Riley Strain's toxicology results. This information was released today by the Tennessee's chief medical examiner. The report shows that Riley Strain's blood alcohol level was more than twice the legal limit. His blood alcohol level was .228, and he also had Delta-9 in his system. Delta-9 is a classic form of THC. This would be the THC you heard about in health class growing up. The effects of Delta-9 are typically increased appetite, elation, relaxation, talkativeness, and laughter. The report still classifies Riley Strain's passing as accidental, and there were no signs of significant trauma. His exact COD is listed as, quote, drowning in ethanol intoxication. Riley Strain's family is doing their own investigation into his passing to see if he was overserved or if any foul play took place. To stay up to date on this case, make sure you click the playlist below. I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments.
Did you know that the Crypt Keeper from Tales of the Crypt actually has Chucky's eyes? The dolls were made by the same person, and when HBO started running out of money to make the show, they needed him to just start using parts he had lying around, so the doll's actually made with a lot of the animatronics that Chucky used and his eyes. Now you know.
The murder of McKinley Chick-fil-A Marie has to be my favorite case of all time. Like, I actually get butterflies in my stomach every time I revisit this case. I'm just so fascinated by the killer. He was so dedicated. He was gorgeous. Super, super dreamy. Like, if he wasn't behind bars, I would probably be with him. And just how dedicated he was to chopping her into bits and pieces. I mean, he really had no remorse, and we almost have to appreciate that. Like, the fact that he carried this chainsaw around for miles and miles, and after chopping her up, it just wasn't enough that he decided to also set on fire. I'm like, there's something hot about that. Siri, play This Girl Is on Fire. We can make jokes now, guys. It's been a long time. The best part about this is that this killer had no remorse. During the court hearing, he actually sat and looked her family members dead in the eyes. Dead, get it, guys? And he actually just laughed the entire time. And you know what? I can appreciate a man who doubles down. Also, disclaimer before people get their panties in a twist, I am being super, super respectful of the family. I'm only sharing things that I've seen already on the internet, so I'm not making things up. These are just facts, and I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Check this out. A YouTuber just found the devil in Alaska. What? The footage at the end is the scariest thing I've ever seen, fam. It's crazy. It's crazy. Luke Nichols, a popular YouTuber from the United States, has just encountered Satan himself in the mountains of Alaska. This is the reason nobody wants to visit Alaska, bro. This is terrifying. So Luke, known for his love for the outdoors, a veteran for outdoor extreme camping and survival, getting the nickname Luke the Nuke Nichols. He had been exploring the Alaskan mountains nearby the Noam territory. The fierce weather conditions made his trip more difficult. He was out on his snowmobile on his way to catch some fish with his son when suddenly they came across a random hole in the ground. They were terrified. They immediately turned back but heard a voice calling out. He turned around and within the darkness of the night he saw horns, then flames, and realized he was staring into the eyes of the devil. He took out his phone to video it. To see the video, comment Mr. Nightmare and we will send it via DM.
Oh. Is that fact a cat?
Has anybody ever heard of the Silent Man ritual? It's a ritual that you should never do. Who is a Silent Man, you may ask? The Silent Man is a demon that was casted down from heaven. A demon that hates noise. Many people say if you play this game and win, you'll gain never-ending good luck and fortune. However, many people who've played and lost say that they've got everything in their lives, everything good, taken away from them. But not only that, but a lot of people who play the Silent Man ritual have reported that they've actually lost their voice over time after playing this game. If you look at it, it makes a lot of sense. The Silent Man hates noise. They say to call upon the Silent Man. First step is to turn off all the electronics in your house. The second step is to light a candle and go to a window. Supposed to whisper quietly at the window. Silent Man, I invite you in. Say around 25 times. Now you have to understand, to win this game, that you have to stay quiet. You'll see a man outside your window. The more noise you make in your house, the closer this man will get to your house, until he's inside your house. This is why I recommend nobody to play this game. Do you guys think I should play this game on live stream? Then heart this video and follow my account. Let me know in the comments.
Y'all, this picture...
I never play those freaking games, those ritual games. That's just like bad energy, bad juju all around. I completely stay away from those, man. I don't see how people can even risk that. That ain't me.
It makes me so sad but so happy at the same time. But this is an updated photo of the Menendez brothers. If y'all are not familiar with the Menendez brothers case, it is an old case. I really feel like they should not be in prison for what they did. But they unalived their parents and they got charged with it. And after going to court and talking about basically that they were SA'd over the course of their childhood, and the reason why they did this is because it got really bad and they felt like they had no other way out. They were still convicted of it and charged with, I believe, life in prison. But there have been a lot of petitions to get them out of prison and get, you know, a retrial or consideration to let them out or give them lesser time or something, because these men have been in prison like so long. And look at them, y'all. They look so good. Like, this makes me so, I don't know why this picture makes me so happy.
What do you guys think about that case? Like I said, a lot of people's calling for their release. They got out. I want to see you guys' thoughts down below on that one. They fled. Tax money. The root of all evil. Maybe that's how they was able to afford that house and that car. Tax fraud. They just got up and vanished like ghosts and they couldn't catch him? The whole mansion. They just had to pack up and disappear. So they got away with it. Didn't even get caught. Come on, man. You gotta be on top of things like that. So people can't get away with that, man. Lived in that big ass mansion, had all those cars.
At 3:15 a.m. Okay. You might be cursed. Like, why though? Legit. So I don't know if you ever heard about the Anomaly house. No. This is a real haunted house. I believe in the States somewhere. So they claim this house to be one of those houses that is truly attached to demons. Now, the story goes that there was this man. They said a voice came to his head and told him his 3 family members, his 2 daughters, and his wife. Now, what's weird...
16-year-old girls that brutally unalived their best friend because they didn't like her anymore. Skylar's niece may have been an only child, but she had a sister-like bond with her best friend Sheila. The girls were like two peas in a pod and did everything together. Their freshman year of high school, they added a third best friend, Rachel, making them an inseparable trio. Like most friend groups in high school, there was some jealousy, like if two of the friends hung out and did invite the third, stuff like that. And that's how Skylar was feeling going into their sophomore year of high school. Like Sheila and Rachel were getting closer and kind of kicking Skylar out. Then, in the middle of the night on July 6, 2012, Skylar snuck out of her house and never came home. Skylar was missing. Her parents are panicked. Her best friends Sheila and Rachel are acting concerned as well. Sheila would spend a lot of time with Skylar's parents, supporting them, crying with them, asking for updates, and asking if there was anything she could do to help. And the longer that Skylar was missing, the more that rumors started to spread. From things like Skylar ran off with a boyfriend, to Skylar fled after robbing a bank, to Skylar's best friends, Sheila and Rachel, were involved. At this point, the investigators were actually pretty convinced that Sheila and Rachel knew more than they were letting on. Both of the girls' stories were nearly identical, like they had been rehearsed. At this point, the police's theory was that the three girls snuck out of the house to maybe use substances and something accidentally happened to Skylar, and Sheila and Rachel were just covering it up because they were scared of getting in trouble. They could have never prepared for what actually happened. Following Skylar's disappearance, Sheila was pretty carefree, but Rachel, on the other hand, was having a nervous breakdown and had to be admitted to a psychiatric facility. And upon release, Rachel confessed that her and Sheila had stabbed Skylar 50 times and had planned the attack for months. And even more shocking was their motive, that they didn't like her anymore and didn't want to be friends with her. To this day, Sheila has never shown any remorse to what she did to her best friend and is seen as the evil ringleader and was sentenced to life in prison. Due to Rachel's confession, she was sentenced to 30 years in prison. She was up for parole very recently, but it was denied. But I'm really curious to hear what you guys think. Do you really think that two 16-year-old girls would brutally unalive their best friend just because they didn't want to be friends with her anymore? I feel like there has to be more to this.
Always find to come back to you, no matter how hard you try to get rid of it. In 2013, a girl received an Elsa doll as her Christmas gift, but it was haunted. The doll had a little necklace that when you press it would make it speak, but after 2 years, it started speaking in Spanish. Once they had the doll for 6 years, they realized they hadn't changed the batteries once, and it would talk even when turned off. So the family said, we're getting rid of this doll, and trashed it. But then 2 weeks later, they found the doll hiding in a bench back inside their house. Now feeling creeped out, they took the doll, put it in 2 bags, left it out for the garbage man, and watched him take it away. Then went out to go grab something from the store, and when they got home, the same doll was waiting for them in their backyard. So they took the doll and sent it to a friend in Minnesota, and thankfully it hasn't come back since.
That was a creepy doll, bro. You don't do dolls over here, Seekers, man.
Morbid Facts, Part 11. In 1984, magician and comedian Tommy Cooper died of a heart attack while performing live on stage. Thinking it was all part of the show, the audience continued to laugh and clap as the man spent his final moments gasping for air. 26-year-old Bella Kilmartin has a rare condition that sends her body to sleep when she experiences strong emotions. She once almost drowned in a pool after laughing at a joke caused her to pass out. The Bunker brothers were a pair of conjoined twins who made the term Siamese twins popular. They were a famous sideshow act in North Carolina until one day one of the brothers woke up to find that his twin had died. In a panic, he called a surgeon to perform an emergency separation, but it was already too late. He would die just 2 hours later as a result of shock. Anton syndrome is a rare psychological condition that can affect people who suddenly go blind. They are completely unaware of their blindness and outright deny it, since their brain generates false images, causing them to believe that they can still see. In 2013, a Brazilian woman confessed to lacing her cooter with poison so that her husband would die when he went down on her. In November of 2004, Peter Porco was struck 16 times in the head with an axe while he was asleep in his New York home. But he miraculously woke up the next morning, made breakfast and coffee for himself, and finally fell dead after picking up his newspaper. His body was in so much shock that he was completely unaware of his battered state in the pools of blood all around him.
Crazy tech facts you didn't know. The first computer mouse ever created was made out of wood back in 1964. Your smartphone has more computing power than NASA used to land a man on the moon back in 1969. The first bug in the computer was an actual insect found stuck inside the computer. 9 out of 10 people feel panicked when their phone battery drops to 20% or lower. But you don't have to be one of those people as long as you have the Crypted 10 power bank. It's only 10,000 milliamp hours but pumps out 100 watts to charge my devices super fast. It's super lightweight like an energy bar. It also has a super cool screen that shows me the voltages and battery levels in real time. Plus it recharges itself to 55% in just 15 minutes with a 90 watt charger. Whether I'm working, gaming or just scrolling TikTok, this thing keeps my devices alive. You can grab it now, the link is in my bio.
This is why you should be scared of jogging down trails at night. Jason said that he used to jog a trail behind his house almost every night. It was peaceful, just trees and dirt and the occasional owl or hawk. He said that he's always loved birds, so when he heard the sound of wings flapping overhead, he slowed down, thinking that maybe he'd spotted something rare. But he said that it didn't sound like the flutter of feathers. It was heavier, thicker almost, leathery. Then he heard a rustling sound in the big oak tree to his left. He said that he stepped off the trail, squinting into the branches. His heart skipped. He thought maybe that it was an eagle, but it wasn't. He said that perched on the tree was something that he'll never forget. Man-shaped and tall, wings wrapped around it like a cloak, red eyes glowing from a face that looked almost human, but wrong in every way. Jason said that it turned its head towards him. He couldn't breathe. His whole body locked up for a few seconds. And then he ran, harder than he's ever run in his life. He said that the flapping sound followed him and it sounded like it was getting closer, but he never looked back. Not until he hit the street light at the edge of the trail. He spun around, gasping, ready to see it swooping toward him, but it was gone. Just trees, silence. Jason said that he doesn't jog that trail anymore, and he never will again.
Here's why you should always stay away from clowns. In 2004, a babysitter was babysitting a couple kids when she noticed something odd in the corner of the room. There's this really creepy clown statue, and no matter how she kind of moved herself, she always felt like it was looking right at her. She then got a call from the parents to see how the kids were doing. She said, yeah, everything's going alright, but what's with that clown statue? There was an eerie silence for a second, and the parents answered, we don't own a clown statue. The babysitter immediately ran upstairs, grabbed the kids, and ran outside. She quickly called 911, and this is what the cops found. They said they found the clown hiding under one of the kids' beds with a sharpened screwdriver. Thank goodness you got out of there when you did. He was ready.
She was a hero, man. She grabbed the kids, too. People just think about
In a
themselves.
small town in Turkey, we found the tallest woman in the world.
Hi there, Smiley. My name is Realtor.
She's so tall that she can't fit into doors or cars. She is 2 meters, 15 centimeters. That's like 2 people stacked on top of each other. When she was a baby, Rumesa was diagnosed with Weaver's syndrome, which made her grow super tall, super fast, and even caused a curve in her spine. Because of it, she has to move around in this wheelchair and can only travel in this van. But Rumesa is not ashamed of her height. She feels special because of it. She won 5 Guinness World Records. She uses her fame to educate millions of people about Weaver's syndrome. And she also has a job as a freelance programmer.
There is more to me than my height.
Rumesa may be from a small town, but she is a big inspiration to all of us. That's 1 minute. See you tomorrow.
We found a guy in Thailand who eats chicken feather. Not the meat, not the wings, chicken feather.
Hi, my name is Sarwood, and I found a way to make meat from feathers.
Turns out, chicken feathers are chemically similar to chicken meat. That's why Surawat decided to take some feathers, turn them into liquid, put them in food thickeners, mix them up, add some spices, put the mixture, let it cook for hours, and made delicious meat from feathers. It looks like meat and tastes like meat. This idea sounds crazy and maybe disgusting, but as our population grows, the need for food grows as well. His idea is to not waste any food or any animal. If we're gonna eat meat, then let us eat 100% of the chickens, even the feathers. That's 1 minute. See you tomorrow.
Would you guys eat that chicken feather, man? Chicken feather meat? You know how creative you got to be to come up with something like that, man? That's insane.
for 2 years and then gave birth to a goat. 28-year-old Alphonsine lived in Nigeria with her husband and 6 kids. She was pregnant with her 7th child, and her husband were patiently waiting for the arrival of their baby. It seemed like everything was going well in her pregnancy until her last trimester. Alphonsine was now in her 9th month, typically when a baby is born, but she still didn't go into labor. She went to the doctor to see if something was wrong with the baby, and they told her it would be better if she was referred to a more specialized hospital. Alphonsine didn't have the money to go to a different kind of hospital, so she decided just to go home and wait it out. As she was waiting, days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and still no baby. At this point, she has now been pregnant for 2 years. One day, Alphonsine starts to have excruciating pain and goes into labor at home. As she is in labor, she starts pushing and something comes out, but it's not a baby, it's a goat. Where she lived, it was a very small village, and word quickly spread around that she gave birth to a goat. Many people started to believe that this was an act of witchcraft from someone who wished evil on her marriage. And others thought that she was just lying, just doing this for attention. However, this greatly affected her husband because he felt like she had evil spirits, so he left her and their 6 kids. Since her husband left her, Alphonsine decided to go live with her mother, and she became the laughing stock of the village. He vowed to never come back, and he ended up marrying a different woman. Alphonsine truly believes that someone used witchcraft to ruin her marriage.
Morbid Facts, Part 2. This Florida man developed star-shaped cataracts after he was zapped by 14,000 volts of electricity. While he got some of his vision back after surgery, he's still legally blind as a result of the mishap. In 2007, a man from Florida woke up in the middle of the night with a severe headache. After he drove to the hospital, doctors found a bullet in his head. Turned out his wife attempted to murder him in his sleep by shooting him in the head. In 2012, a woman from New York donated her kidney to save the life of her boss. But her boss then fired her when she took too long to recover from the operation. In 2001, a woman from Texas hit a homeless man with her car and his body became lodged in her windshield. She drove home with him still stuck in her car and repeatedly apologized to the man when he was in her garage. But she never called for help, and the man died 2 days later still stuck in the woman's windshield. She ended up receiving 50 years in prison for the bizarre murder.
People are crazy. That
Got done watching Peter Pan Neverland Nightmare, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm pleasantly surprised. Going into the movie, I wasn't sure what I was expecting. A movie around the dark theory behind Peter Pan, where he isn't saving the kids, he's unaliving them. Trust me when I tell you, some of the unalivings in this movie are absolutely insane. Back when Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 came out, I compared some of the unalivings to something out of a Terrifier movie, just because it's extremely over the top. And trust me when I tell you, this movie 100% delivers on some gory stuff. But if you're looking for a super serious slasher, I don't think it's this movie. It's definitely a lot of fun. And the movie itself is really good. Serious? I don't know about that. It's also made by the same directors who made Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, who are also creating a massive cinematic universe called the Pooniverse, which is set to release sometime this year, combining all of their horror movie characters. All of the characters from Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, all of the characters from Peter Pan Neverland Nightmare, all of the characters from Bambi the Reckoning, which has to do with an undead deer, aka Bambi, and some undead bunnies. On top of that, the final movie to release in this whole entire cinematic universe, at least this year that's been announced, is Pinocchio Unstrung. But we're still set to get all of these characters inside of the Pooniverse, but I just don't know how it's gonna work. I almost forgot to mention, Captain Hook in this movie, Pro's one of them ones. Don't forget to like and follow for more.
Is one of the darkest human experiments in history. It's called the Little Albert experiment, and this baby is Little Albert. And 2 psychologists literally taught him how to have a phobia of something he didn't have before. And unfortunately, that was just the tip of the iceberg in terms of how unethical this was. So here's the full story. Reminder, I cover a lot of dark stories on this channel. Severe discretion is advised, but follow along if you want to hear more. In 1920, a psychologist named John Watson and his assistant wanted to see if they could create a conditioned fear response in a baby. Bear in mind that in 1920, the science of psychology was still like the Wild West and very much in its infancy. So like ethics and potential negative psychological effects were like never considered. So here's how the experiment worked. They showed little Albert a bunch of animals, like a dog, a monkey, a cat, and a little white rat. And at first, no big deal, he wasn't scared at all, he actually tried to play with them. But then things took a turn. The next time they brought out the animals, they paired it with a terrifying, loud noise, over and over again. And the result? After doing this enough times, little Albert just started to freak out at the sight of the animals, but it didn't stop there. His fear started to become generalized. Little Albert became scared of anything fluffy. They made this child afraid of soft things, like stuffed animals, cotton, coats, even the psychologist's beard. And if that's not bad enough, here's the worst part. These psychologists never unconditioned him. He was never untaught the fear. And I'm sure you're asking about his mother. So first off, little Albert's mother was never informed about what the doctors were doing to her child. I'm not even joking. So without this knowledge, she took her child and she moved away. So there was no help, no follow-up, the experiment just ended. And what happened to little Albert remains a mystery. He's basically been reduced to a chapter in a textbook about how we intentionally traumatized a baby in the name of science. Researchers have speculated for decades on his true identity, but the truth is that we'll really never know what became of little Albert. We don't know if he died young or lived a long life with a fear of anything white and fluffy. What we do know is that as a baby, little Albert was subjected to inhumane and unethical treatment. Scientists taught him to associate comfort with terror, and then they abandoned him. And it continues today to be one of those experiments that broadens the space between curiosity and cruelty.
That's insane, man. Justice for little Albert, bro.
Okay, so what's actually going on with these bodies being found in the Chicago River? And is it really a serial killer? So in the last month, several bodies have washed ashore in the Chicago River and in Lake Michigan. And so far, police don't think that the deaths are related. So one obvious explanation could be that the weather's just warming up and bodies that were trapped under layers of ice are now rising to the surface. But that doesn't explain how they got there in the first place. Let's not forget that since 1999, there's been over 50 women who have been killed by what they believe is a serial killer, one that has still never been found. Most of these women were black, many of them were sex workers, and none of them have been solved. This so-called Chicago Strangler could still be out there. And it's quite possible that as more bodies wash ashore, more answers about this could be found.
We need answers, man. Expeditiously. No ifs, ands, or buts. We know what that is. We see through that, man.
Morbid Facts, Part 4. When a group of loggers were cutting off the top of a chestnut oak tree in 1980, they found the mummified remains of a hunting dog. Experts believe that it chased its prey up the tree in the 1960s, only to get stuck there and eventually die. He was posthumously named Stucky. This endangered baby dolphin in Argentina died shortly after this photo was taken because beachgoers were passing it around for selfies. If you hit someone with your car in China, you have to pay for their medical care. But if you kill someone with your car in China, you only have to pay a one-time fine. For this reason, many Chinese drivers have gone back to kill the person they hit. Refrigerator doors are only magnetic because children used to die inside of them. Before the Refrigerator Safety Act of 1956, the doors could only be opened by pulling the handle on the outside, which resulted in the deaths of many children who found abandoned refrigerators and got trapped inside of them while playing hide and seek before eventually suffocating.
He lost his virginity to his mom's corpse. On March 27th of 2014, 18-year-old Kevin Davis was frustrated, bored with life, and told his mom that he didn't like people and he wanted to end his life. His mom, 50-year-old Kimberly, was caught off guard at first, but told him that if that's what he really wanted to do, she couldn't stop him. When Kevin heard this, he became enraged, and instead of taking his own life, he was going to take his mom's life. As Kimberly was sitting on the couch watching TV, Kevin came behind her and strangled her with a cord. She started to scream, so Kevin panicked, grabbed a hammer, and smashed her skull with it. He hit her with that hammer at least 20 times, which split her skull. Kevin then grabbed a kitchen knife and inserted it into his mother's head and swirled around her brain to make sure that she was actually dead. He would then put his hand inside his mother's wound and described it as putty. But Kevin wasn't done there. He then dragged his mom's lifeless body to her bedroom and S-ate her. Once Kevin was done, he went to a nearby neighbor's house and told them that he had unalived someone, so they called 911. Once Kevin was at the police station, he gave a full confession, giving all of the details. When he was talking with detectives, he told them that he always had this fantasy of doing it with a corpse, and now he finally lost his virginity. Kevin claimed that his mother was such a good mother and she truly did not deserve that. He was just a horrible person, but if he were to ever get released, he would do it again. Kevin was sentenced to life in prison, but will be eligible for parole in March of 2044.
Apparently, Ms. Vallow also attempted service on another one of the next of kin in Louisiana, Larry Woodcock. Again, that information, including his address, which she should not have access to, and in violation of victims' rights and the Arizona Constitution, was filed with the clerk's office. So we have multiple people that she's subpoenaing that are not on her 15.2, that she's violating victims' rights for. So I'm going to ask, of course, the court seal that subpoena as well, since it includes his address.
All right, it's ordered sealing any subpoena that was filed relating to Larry Woodcock.
What you gonna do?
Do you have outstanding subpoenas on next of kin or, well, let's start with there. Next of kin?
Let me check, Your Honor.
She whispering.
Check on that, Your Honor, but not that we're aware of.
As to the extent that you have subpoenas for next of kin on either of your cases, you need to coordinate the service of those subpoenas through the county attorney's office. They can facilitate in that and getting those people served if they are indeed witnesses that have relevant information in these cases.
And both of those people, Your Honor, Robert Vallow and Larry Woodcock, were not on my list and were not intended to be subpoenaed. So it was an oversight.
So I don't know how OPDS got that information to serve them subpoenas. So someone on your team needs to double check with OPDS that the correct people are being subpoenaed.
And Your Honor, they are signed by the defendant. So
all right.
She is the one who's signing those subpoenas. She is the one acting as counsel. So she is the one asking to send those out.
So how was it an oversight?
I just signed them all, and we got them prepared, and I signed them all, and I did not check them. It's my own fault. But I apologize to the families.
So do you know the names of all the people you subpoenaed, or you just signed a stack of subpoenas?
I did sign the stack, but I thought I was aware of all that they were the ones that I had asked to subpoena.
She's stuttering.
For this trial or for the next one as well?
Just for this one. We haven't done our subpoenas yet for the next trial.
I'll try. And for the next trial, I need you to be more diligent in what you're signing.
Call. Seekers, that's it for this video for you guys today, man. If you guys learned anything new, comment down below. Hit that thumbs up button, man. Also, don't forget to hit that post notification bell so you always get notified when I upload my next videos. You guys are going to catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.